What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. VP Tactical here, and today we are reviewing the Beretta M9A4 Centurion. I've got quite a bit to say about this pistol, and before I dive in, help support my channel by hitting that like and subscribe button. Drop a comment below. YouTube's algorithm suppresses firearm-related content, and by liking, subscribing, and commenting, that only helps to further push Second Amendment content to viewers like you. And of course, don't forget to hit that bell notification so you know when I drop new content. So let's go ahead and dive in. This pistol is the latest iteration of the M9 series, and boy, is this one sweet pistol. There are plenty of pros and cons, and we're going to talk about all of that in this video. And so a quick rundown of all of the specs. This particular pistol is chambered in 9mm and has an 18-round capacity, although you can use smaller mags and there are different variations if your state local laws require it. I'm going to go ahead and clear this because we're going to be manipulating the pistol. You'll see it's a little bit dirty just because, well, we've been shooting it. The length is 8.3 inches versus the full-size model. So mind you, I said this is a Centurion, which happens to be their smaller carry version versus the full-size model, which comes in right around about 8.7 inches. The barrel length itself comes in right around about 4.8 inches. Overall height, we're talking 5.6 inches, and overall width, about 1.5 inches. So it's got a little bit of girth to it, but doesn't feel bulky. And the weight comes in right around about 32 ounces. And so this is part of the 90 series pistol, which has been featured in many popular films such as Commando, Lethal Weapon, RoboCop, Die Hard, and many others. It's actually gained a good chunk of its notoriety from the military, which they adopted the 92 FS back in 1985 and dubbed it the M9 with slight changes. This replaced the Colt 1911. And then throughout the years, Beretta had released updated models, the M9A1, M9A3, and finally now the M9A4, and then the M9A4 Centurion. And so let's talk about the good. What did I like about this pistol? Well, being the fact that it is a little bit of a heavier gun, and it's an all-metal frame pistol, it is very low recoil, and it's a flat shooting gun. It's a blast to shoot, even in its stock configuration. Not to forget that the accuracy of this gun is darn good. The reliability and accuracy were actually a big component of why this pistol stuck around in the military, aside from the fact that Beretta can make these cheaper than their competitors. At this point, I've got over 400 rounds in this and haven't had a single failure to feed, eject, or any stovepipes. It's running like a well-oiled machine. The sights are good, easy to see and pick up quickly. In addition, this pistol comes optics ready, no need to use a rear sight adapter, which you may have had to do with previous iterations. The grip texture itself is quite aggressive and allows you to get a solid purchase on the gun, even with sweaty palms. And the front and rear serrations are deep and feel great and allow you to rack the slide with relative ease. The M9A4 are actually G models, which means that they have a decocker only. So as you can see right now, the pistol is actually cocked. And so if we were to put it on safe, quote unquote, it only decocks the gun and it goes back into the double action mode. My understanding is that for this particular pistol, you can change this from a G to an F model to gain the safety if you so choose. This particular pistol, as I mentioned, does operate in a double action, single action format and is solid for a factory setup. I actually like the trigger. The first stage of the double action should come in right around about 9 pounds or higher. So let's go ahead and test that real quick. All right, so we've got our tester. Pistol is clear. We're gonna go ahead and put this on here. We got 8 pounds, 1 ounce. Now the single action mode is what happens after the first shot. So let's pretend that we are in single action mode. If you notice now the trigger is back a little bit further and it is much lighter. It should come in right around about 4.5 pounds. And so let's go ahead and check that real quick with the gauge. So we're gonna go ahead and clear that bad boy out. 4 pounds, 13.1 ounces. So pretty much right on par with what I was expecting. 9 pounds for the double action mode, and then right around about 4.5 pounds for the single action mode. And I do also like the fact that this has a threaded barrel. And so essentially it's suppressor ready pretty much right out of the box. And they even include a few additional O-rings if replacement is needed, if they happen to wear out over periods of time of you taking them on and off. And so that being said, a little bit about, like I mentioned, the double action, single action. So your first stage is going to be double action. Fairly heavy trigger pull, but it is still relatively crisp. So let's pretend again like we fired our first shot. Now you'll see you get a relatively short reset, take up, and then she breaks again. And so there's certainly a one of the better factory triggers I've seen. Right out the box without any additional modifications. Now, I did want to talk a little bit about what I dislike about this pistol, and like I mentioned earlier, you know, it is a bit of a heavier gun. Being that it is all metal, it does pack some weight, especially once it's fully loaded, so that's something to keep in mind if you're going to put this into your EDC rotation. The front serrations are great, however, you want to be cautious as your hand will be near the hot barrel at some point, so it is possible to get burned. The decocker in the back, this is a bit bulky, and so it is possible it could get in the way if you're trying to rack the pistol from the rear, or you know, activate the decocker inadvertently. Another point of contention I wanted to mention was the optics mounting situation. It is necessary to purchase a plate to put on your RMR cut devices on the pistol. Thus, out of the box, you'll need an additional accessory, which runs about $50, give or take. The factory Beretta mounting plate is quite thick, and that might turn some folks off from a balance or aesthetic perspective. The thicker mounting plate raises the optic up much higher off the slide. Luckily, there are optic plate options available on the market to rectify this issue, although it may require some slight modification to your pistol. So my final take on the gun, I actually absolutely love the trigger. The texture, like I said, on these grip panels is phenomenal. I love how the gun shoots, performs. It's very well balanced, and its overall feel in the hands. It just feels natural. And very few pistols that I pick up and say, man, this just feels right out the gate, and this happens to be one of those. It certainly has its drawbacks. However, I believe the pros outweigh the cons. These do run in the neighborhood of around $1,200. However, I managed to pick mine up as a BLEM for $699, which is a steal in my opinion. A ton of gun for the money, and not a single scratch on it that I could find, or a single blemish, I guess, if you will. And these are also manufactured right here in the good old USA in Gallatin, Tennessee. The pistol is purpose-built for home and personal defense, as well as duty carry and competition. I plan to carry this throughout the year when I can, meaning I like to adjust my EDC to the season. So this is perfect for a fall and winter carry, especially with thicker and heavier clothing to conceal it better. Now, and if any of you, have recommendations on a holster for this pistol, drop those comments below. I'd greatly appreciate it. Stay tuned for more exciting content around this particular product, and we'll also do some shooting of it suppressed and adding some accessories. So be safe, stay vigilant, and catch you in the next video.